There are losses that don't happen all at once. They happen slowly, season after season, opportunity after opportunity, until one day you look back and realize how much time is gone. Not just moments, but years. Years spent surviving, enduring, waiting, regretting. And the question rises quietly but painfully. What if those years were wasted? This is the grief Joel names. The years the locusts ate. Not a single disaster, but repeated damage. Things consumed little by little. Plans interrupted. Strength drained. Hope postponed. It feels cruel because time cannot be recovered, and the heart knows it. Shame often attaches itself here, whispering that if you had been stronger, wiser, more faithful, things would have turned out differently. Job knew this ache intimately. Not only loss of things, but loss of time. Days filled with pain instead of purpose. Questions without answers. Silence, where God's voice once felt close. Suffering stretches time. It makes every season feel longer, heavier, and seemingly unproductive. But God was not absent in Job's waiting, and He is not absent in yours. Joel 2:25 does not promise a rewind. It promises restoration. I will restore the years, not the moments exactly as they were, but the meaning, the fruit, the outcome. God does not deny loss. He redeems it. He takes what was eaten and weaves it into something that could not have existed otherwise. This is difficult to believe when regret feels louder than hope, because we measure life chronologically. But God works redemptively. What felt like delay was often preparation. What felt like absence was often deep formation. Job did not see purpose in his suffering while he was inside it, but later, what seemed wasted became the place where God revealed Himself more clearly than ever before. Restoration is not pretending the pain didn't happen. It is God declaring that pain does not get the final word. The locusts consumed, but they did not define the ending. God does not restore by erasing the past. He restores by reauthoring the future. The most powerful truth in restoration is this: nothing entrusted to God is wasted. Not obedience that went unnoticed. Not faith practiced in obscurity. Not years spent healing when others were advancing. Job's story did not end with compensation alone. It ended with clarity, intimacy, and renewed purpose. What looked like delay became depth. God restores in ways that surprise the soul, not always by giving back the same thing, but by giving something truer, stronger, more aligned. Joel's promise is not about getting time back. It is about getting life back, joy, fruitfulness, dignity, forward movement without the weight of regret dragging behind you. The enemy counts loss. God counts seeds, and seeds buried in dark seasons are not wasted. They are waiting. When God restores, He does not rush, but He is thorough, and the years you thought were gone forever will stand one day as evidence that God never stopped working, even when you could not see it. Take a deep breath now. Give this moment to the Lord. Let's pray. God, I look back at years that feel eaten, seasons stripped bare, time marked by loss, delay, unanswered prayers. I wonder how much was wasted, how much can never be recovered. Like Job, I remember days when everything collapsed at once, when obedience did not protect me from pain, when silence stretched longer than hope. Yet you speak a promise that reaches even here. You restore the years the locusts have eaten, not moments, not fragments, but years. I confess how hard that is to believe, because I still feel the gap, the absence, the grief of what never became. But you are not bound by chronology. You are not limited by damage. Teach my heart to trust that suffering is not the final editor of my story, that waiting is not abandonment, that loss does not disqualify purpose. I bring you my wasted years, not with explanation, but with faith. believing that you can weave redemption even from seasons that felt empty, ruined, beyond repair. Lord, when I think about those years, my heart tightens. Opportunities missed, strength spent just surviving, prayers that seem to fall to the ground. I confess the quiet grief of lost time, the fear that I'm behind, that others moved forward while I stood still. Job sat in ashes with no explanation, no timeline, no reassurance, yet you were still writing. Teach me that restoration is not pretending the loss didn't hurt. It is trusting that you can still redeem it. I bring you the seasons where nothing bloomed, where obedience felt unproductive, where endurance was my only fruit. Redeem even that. Use what felt empty to deepen wisdom, compassion, discernment. Let nothing be meaningless. Not the waiting, not the tears, not the questions. I release the comparison that tells me I'm late. I release the regret that tells me it's too late. I choose to believe that you stand outside time and that you are able to restore in ways I cannot imagine. Even now, even after everything. Father, trusting you with lost years is harder than trusting you with future ones. The past feels fixed, unchangeable, marked by decisions I regret, wounds I didn't choose, seasons I didn't understand. I confess how often I replay them, wondering what could have been. Different, Job questioned, lamented, sat with confusion, and you did not reject him for it. Teach me that faith can coexist with grief, that I don't have to erase sorrow to believe in restoration. Help me stop fighting the past and start surrendering it. I don't ask you to rewrite history. I ask you to redeem it, to take what was stripped away and grow something deeper in its place. Let maturity come from suffering, empathy from pain, clarity from waiting. I release the belief that my best days are behind me. I choose hope, not naive, but anchored, trusting that you waste nothing, not even the years that felt empty, and that in your hands, loss can still become purpose. God. The weight of lost years often shows up as insecurity, a quiet fear that I'm permanently behind, that my life missed its moment. I confess how this fear has shaped my choices, making me rush, settle, or doubt your timing. But Job's restoration did not bring back the same life. It brought a deeper one. Teach me that restoration is not returning to an old timeline, but stepping into a redeemed one. Free me from the pressure to catch up, from measuring my journey against others, from believing delay equals disqualification. Let patience replace panic. Let trust replace urgency. When regret whispers that time is gone, answer it with truth, that you restore in ways beyond clocks and calendars. I surrender my timeline to you, the years I wanted back, the progress I hoped for, the doors that closed. I choose to believe that what you bring next will not be less because it came later. It will be richer, steadier, rooted in grace, not haste, and carried by your perfect timing. Lord, I begin to see how those years shaped me, not the way I planned, but the way you knew I would need. Loss refined my vision. Waiting strengthened my endurance. Disappointment taught me where my hope truly rests. Like Job, I learned things in suffering I could never learn in ease. Teach me not to despise the seasons that humbled me, even when they hurt. Let gratitude slowly replace resentment, not by denying the pain, but by recognizing your faithfulness within it. Use what was stripped away to deepen wisdom, compassion, discernment. Let the fruit of those years appear now, not as visible success, but as inner strength, integrity, reverence. I don't want restoration that erases the past. I want redemption that honors it. I remain here, allowing you to reinterpret my story, trusting that even the hardest years, when surrendered, become soil for something new, something lasting, something good. in your perfect plan. Father, there are days when the weight of those years returns. Memories surface. Regret stirs. And I feel the ache of what never happened. I confess how easily I slip into mourning what was lost instead of trusting what you are restoring. Yet you met Job again, not with explanations, but with revelation. Teach me to recognize you in the aftermath, to see your presence not only in blessing, but in endurance. When grief revisits, meet it with truth. When sorrow resurfaces, steady it with hope. I don't want to live anchored to loss. I want to live attentive to redemption, reclaim even my memory, so it no longer wounds, but witnesses. Let the past stop accusing me and start pointing me toward you. I place my remaining years in your hands, not trying to compensate for what's gone, but trusting that you multiply what remains. I move forward now, carrying hope, not denial, believing that restoration is already unfolding, quietly, faithfully, under your care, Lord. I notice how restoration begins quietly, not with dramatic reversal, but with renewed strength to live forward. The years, once labeled lost, no longer define my direction. They inform my wisdom, soften my pride, deepen my compassion. Like Job, I carry scars, but also sight I didn't have before. Teach me to steward this new clarity well, to walk humbly, to listen deeply, to trust you without demanding timelines. When fear tells me it's too late to build, remind me that you restore. Beyond arithmetic, beyond fairness, beyond expectation, I don't need everything back to be whole. I need you present in what comes next. Use what remains of my life intentionally, redeeming even the echoes of loss. Let my obedience now be free from resentment, my faith free from bargaining. I step forward without rushing, without regret, believing that the God who restores years also restores purpose, and that nothing surrendered to you remains wasted. Not one tear, not one season, not 1 year. God, I'm learning that restoration doesn't always look like replacement. Sometimes it looks like reorientation. You turn my face toward what still matters, toward people, callings, moments I once overlooked. The years that felt eaten sharpen my discernment now. I notice what feeds life and what drains it. Teach me to build wisely with what you've given back, to plant where the soil is ready, to tend what you entrust without fear of scarcity. When old regret tries to rush me, slow me with wisdom. When impatience urges me to overcompensate, steady me with trust. I don't need to make up for the past. I need to be faithful in the present. Let peace guard my pace. Let gratitude guard my heart. I choose to believe that you are not only restoring what was lost, you are creating what never existed before. New capacity, new fruit, new joy, born from mercy. I walk on, attentive, hopeful, confident that even now, you are redeeming time itself and shaping a future marked by purpose, not regret. Father, I begin to speak differently about my past now, not as a wasted story, but as a redeemed one. The years the locusts ate no longer silence my hope. They give depth to my praise. Like Job, I can say I knew of you before, but now I know you more deeply. Teach me to carry my testimony with humility, not bitterness, with gratitude, not shame. When memories arise, let them remind me of your faithfulness, not my loss. I don't want to forget the pain, but I refuse to let it define my future. Let wisdom born from suffering guide my choices. Let compassion born from waiting shape my love. I step into what you are restoring now, not demanding explanations, not counting what's missing, but trusting the God who multiplies what remains. I hold my life open before you, believing that in your hands, even the longest seasons of loss, become instruments of grace, depth, and lasting purpose. Lord, I see now that nothing surrendered to you is ever lost. The seasons that felt eaten, stripped, silent, were still held in your hands. You did not rush my pain. You did not ignore my waiting. You were present in it all. Like Job, I emerge not with the same life returned, but with a deeper one restored. I release the last trace of regret, the fear that time has run out, the ache of comparison. I choose trust, not because I understand, but because I have seen your faithfulness. Let the years ahead carry fruit that could only grow from what I endured. Let my life testify that you redeem time itself, that you restore more than circumstances. You restore purpose, joy, and hope. I walk forward now, unburdened by the past, anchored in grace, confident that the God who restores years will continue restoring me until every season finds its meaning in you. Amen. May the Lord's grace and peace accompany you today. Thank you for joining us in this moment of prayer.